Hey everybody, welcome to 1 Bitcoin and 32 Ethereum. This is a competition show amongst the Hardforking team to trade our way to that landmark of 1 Bitcoin or 32 Ethereum. Each week we meet founders of different projects, we make an assessment of them, we then either hold, sell or buy more of that project with the small donation that they make to us each week. Prime XBT have also come on board to support this, and we'll be using that platform for copy trading or for our own margin trading activities. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to 1 Bitcoin and 32 ETH.
BTC and 32 ETH.
Stefano, you came up with this name. Why did you want to call this show 32 Ethereum and 1 Bitcoin? Let's be serious here.
The reason for the name for the BTC part, I think, is pretty straightforward because like anybody in the blockchain knows that 1 BTC is kind of like that special club to be in. While for the 32 ETH, the reason is pretty simple. Once Ethereum 2.0 is going to launch, the way to join the ETH club and so earning an interest from staking is going to be having 32 ETH. So in the space, there is a little bit of that like push to actually like having that ratio between 1 BTC and 32 ETH because they're both like going to bring home a positive result technically. That's kind of like what everybody's saying.
So on that note, it was having that conversation with you that really sort of sparked my fascination with everything happening in Ethereum. It's been a deep dive, playing a bit of catch up as I go into competition with you two, which is incredibly daunting. These guys are well ahead of me in their knowledge of what's happening on Ethereum. So as you know, this is a contest, people. It's not financial advice. I'm going up against two very knowledgeable people and the guys that spend a lot of time trading these things. So without further ado, let me introduce them. You probably already know them if you follow this channel. Stefano, welcome.
Hello.
Johnny Gonzo, our resident shitcoiner.
Shitcoin slinger.
Shitcoin slinger.
That's me.
Fantastic. Right, so as you know, people, from the intro, we're in a race here to get to either a Bitcoin or 32 Ethereum. We're going to be looking at 2 to 3 projects a week, and then obviously we hold, buy, sell. Are we going to acquire more? They might be the ones that you want to take a closer look at. And on that note, even though the clips in this show are 2 to 3 minutes in length, they're really just to introduce you to the projects. The long form videos are all available. So anything you like the look of, go and check it out. Once again, not financial advice. This is a competition between myself and these two. Because we're taking this deadly serious, meme of the week.
That's not the Fed. That's Uniswap printing ETH.
And that's why it's funny.
Okay, before we get into the first project, let's have a look at the overall market. So throw up a few charts here. So Stefano, talk us through the Bitcoin chart and where we're currently.
Sure. Well, BTC, we all know, like it started from POW. So the only way at the beginning to get that was by mining that. So the initial value was 0. 2017, we got like the super famous all-time high, which depends on the exchange, but it was like 20,000, 19,600, 19,400. And we're down now to today value we're recording, which is $11,840.
Okay, on to Ethereum.
If we're looking at Ethereum, so Ethereum is a little bit easier because obviously it started with an ICO. So we know exactly the value at the beginning, which was basically 40 cents, USD obviously, per ETH. It went on all-time high pretty much in the same period of like BTC and pretty much on every single other cryptos. And the value of all-time high was around $1,400. Now, at that point, obviously, same thing again as BTC. It went down. It even went like below $100 for a specific amount of time. Like the value is kind of like increasing. Once again, same story as in BTC. One thing that is important to notice on this is that when people were starting talking about Ethereum 2.0, there was exactly that like tweets that were popping up about one BTC is going to be equal to 32 ETH. Because the ratio was completely different. BTC was much more valuable by that time. However, if we're looking at the ratio today, one BTC is equal to 28.66 something. So 28.67 ETH. The last thing that we're going to look at, it's going to be DeFi, which is basically what a lot of people are considering today being the reason why we're back in a bull market, or why there is like fear of missing out and like all of this excitement and so on. We spoke in the past about DeFi. Obviously, majority of the projects that we're going to see later on are going to be DeFi project, decentralized finance project. But just to give you like an idea of what is happening in DeFi and why actually things are getting very exciting, is the fact that like we basically move to now having more than $8 billion locked into DeFi projects, which is insane. But what is more crazy is the growth that we're having, because it took like basically a year or even more than a year to move from like 0 to 100 millions of dollars locked in those smart contracts. And now we're adding billions of a matter of like 4, 5, 6 days. Like the ratio, the speed on which we're going now, it's absolutely insane. And that obviously brings in fear of missing out, excitement, research to new projects, the so-called hidden gems, and all of these things that we have seen in the past in 2017 during the ICO bubble, but that, you know, some of those aspects are coming back today exactly for these reasons.
Maybe one thing to look at here would be the total market cap. So back during the boom, we were over 800 billion. We're currently less than half of that, which I suppose gives me some confidence that we're not in bubble territory yet. It might seem like it when you look at the percentage growth in some of these things. What are your comments on that, guys, before we get into our first project?
Bubble, probably.
You think we're in a bubble already?
Well, I think it's like a mini bubble inside a bigger bubble. Right now, it seems like Uniswap, you know, it's like, it feels like it's starting to max out a bit between the ETH fees and the scams and like, you know, the YAM thing. I think people are like, okay, hold on a minute here. People are smartening up just a little bit, but there's still tons of money going into it. It's crazy. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I think it depends on the specific part of the blockchain industry that we're looking at. If we're considering like the market cap per se, I agree. I don't see that being a bubble. If we're considering the fact that like compared to 2017, a lot of projects are delivering products that are actually like useful, and well, useful is a big word, but that you can use them. So, and obviously like the values, the all-time high values of like the big coins like BTC, Ethereum, Ripple, and so on are way lower. However, I agree with Jordan on that I do think that there is a little bit of bubble in specific sectors. Like YAM was an example. Like when you're putting more than $400 million into an annotated contract where the developers are telling you you should not do that, and you're still putting $400 million, something is a little bit weird. And now what we're seeing is that after YAM, now we're starting having like pasta, we're starting having spaghetti finance, like
tenders. Right?
Yeah, we're starting having like all of these things which are exactly 100% what happened during the 2017 when everybody was having a race of a copycat of the same thing over and over. So, you know, right now it's fun. Everybody's enjoying that because it's like yield farming and all things that we're going to look at later on. But just bear in mind that the risk now, it's even worse than what we had during ICO. Because during the ICO bubble, we had no regulation. And so we kind of have that big question mark that if things were going south, we had the option maybe of doing lawsuit and stuff like that. On DeFi, you're almost guaranteed that if you lose, you lose. Like you get nothing in return on that.
Degenerate meter is at like 100 right now.
Yeah.
It's like the DeFi food bubble.
Okay, some words of caution from the Jordan, the resident shitcoiner. So to all of you watching, tread carefully, do your own research and do it thoroughly. I think there will be great projects out there that still got a hell of a lot of legs, but yeah, I think the guys are spot on there. Look, on that note, guys, how about we jump into a look at the first project, the DMG project. So what we got here, 2 or 3 minutes with the founder, then we'll come back and give you our thoughts. And as I mentioned, the long form videos to all of these projects that we're reviewing are available. Links below. Check them out.
So yeah, this is the DeFi Money Market website. As you can see, the first thing that we showcase when you actually get on here is the fact that we offer 6.25% interest on a couple main assets. We're actually in the process of voting on adding USDT support or Tether support as well to be added onto this list of 3 assets. But the main thing that we're trying to offer with our ecosystem is a stable, uncorrelated yield to on-chain cryptocurrency deposits or cryptocurrency holders. Not to be confused with other services that offer interest as well, like BlockFi, that are larger centralized services where you have to actually open up accounts on these platforms and do things of that nature in order to be able to open up your savings account that earns the interest. We operate more so as a protocol, which means that we're operating very, very strictly on the Ethereum blockchain using smart contracts in order to dictate how we work. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of questions that stem from this and happy to dive into them as you kind of guide the conversation along.
Sure.
But the big thing that we're actually working on is designing the actual nuts and bolts, or essentially Lego building blocks of how you can earn interest using real world assets in a crypto environment. And we call this process tokenizing these real world assets, essentially offering the yield out that way. And then we're building it in such a way where we actually can allow other applications to build on top of us in order to be able to get access to the interest. So what we're expecting is kind of like what we've seen with Compound, is seeing other companies build on top of us in order to be able to offer the interest that we're offering through the protocol to their own end customers. And so we kind of see ourselves as like the bottom base layer, kind of offering this as a financial primitive for other individuals that want to build companies on top of this. A good example of this when it comes to Compound is if people are familiar with Dharma, that's spelled DHARMA. Dharma is a company that actually built an application on top of Compound offering interest, and their business model is to actually take a little bit of interest off the top. So if Compound offers 5%, for example, at that moment in time, they'll offer 4% to the users and take 1% for themselves. Just as an example, those numbers are not meant to actually be what they actually do, but just more so an example of it per se. So with that, what we actually do is we back the interest in our protocol by real world assets, as I alluded to earlier. These real world assets are income generating. They are over collateralized, and we try to do our best. And what we do right now is really our first step forward with it, but we're trying to make the process as transparent as possible. If you compare something like the interest being generated by something like a bank, you really don't necessarily have a lot of visibility into what they're doing with it, unfortunately. And this could lead to problems whenever there is a larger liquidation that occurs or some catastrophic issues at the bank. People are usually left in the dark about it until they find out after the fact that money was lost, or potentially your own money was lost at the bank when bad things can happen. So for us, we're trying to create this as an alternative savings account for individuals that want to move away from a banking system or looking for returns that are significantly greater than that of a bank. And in doing so, it can get something that is a best-in-class replacement, in our opinion.
Stefano, thoughts?
So it's a tough one because obviously, like, we have to be in a position where like we're analyzing good and bad of everything to be like as honest as possible. So the good, the product, I like it. I like the product a lot. The fact that you can have like DeFi on physical assets, and the year return of that 6+% a year is actually higher than a lot of other projects if you're not considering the farming aspects on that. It's a little bit lower than other projects like Real.co, for example, which is still like on real estate. but the easiness of like jumping and exiting a contract on DMG is absolutely fantastic on that. Now, the bad side, at least for me, is the fact that the supply of the token, like the structure of that token, there is still like an enormous portion that is still owned by the team, by the investors, by the private investors, and so on. So that could either be a very great thing, because it means that the team is going to use that for marketing and so on, or a catastrophic thing, because they might actually just like push everything to the market and liquidate everything and just like grabbing and so on. Now, obviously there are like specific phases behind this project, which I think is not going to happen. But to me personally, that's normally like something that I look with a caution aspects on that.
Yeah,
Where I'm very
15th,
interested
right?
in,
November 15th is a big vesting date where a lot of tokens are unlocked. So, you know,
that's the thing.
If you're in this project, I got to look at those dates. That's always a super important thing when vestings and unlocks come up, because usually it's followed by a dump. No matter how hardcore the investors are, if they're in early VC, they're, by the time year 2x, they're like 5, 6x. So just stuff to look out for with those vesting dates.
Okay. So Stefano, overall for you?
Overall is definitely an old for the time being, because one, the dates on like movements, as Jordan mentioned, are far away. Two, they're actually planning of adding staking on the token, which if it's done in the proper way could actually be a pretty interesting solution. So at the moment I'm sitting, I'm looking where it goes. There is potential, a few question marks obviously, but for the time being, keeping, absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Jordan.
Yeah, DMG token. I like the concept. It's really like tokenizing everything. That's, it's a huge market if they can get into it. But the concept, it's like, wow, it's huge, right? And it's going to take a while for them to implement it. The 6% guaranteed return, that's great, I don't know. I think it's a little bit, for me, if we're racing, it's a bit late in the hype cycle. It was one of the first movers in the DeFi. It was a bit of a trailblazer. And right now it's kind of like, okay, it's done its peak and now it's kind of like accumulating, right? So I'll hold, I think probably with this one, put it into the try and get some returns on it, 6% for a bit. And just watch it for a week or two, see how it goes. It's not something I would dump, but if I've got a stack of them, I'm not going to throw them away, that's for sure.
Sure.
Unless a super good opportunity comes up and I need some capital, then maybe I might dump them if it's peaking.
Okay.
I'm like a super opportunistic trader. So I've always got a stack ready to jump on a dump, right? I mean, personally, DMG, that would be the thing to look out for. You accumulate to, when there's going to be an unlocking, sell, you wait for everybody else to dump, you rebuy lower.
Okay.
That's, it's just the nature of the market. You can try to pretend that it won't happen, but the other good thing I like about DMG though, is it's something that I feel like I could pitch to my parents. Like the concept is like, oh, it's tied to real world assets. It's not just like magic internet money. There's like a really foundational thing behind it that most normal people can understand. Like you try and explain yield farming to a noob or your parents or, somebody that's not in crypto, and they're going to be like,
but they're still going to tell you
just
that
give me the money, man. I'll take it for you.
They're still going to need magic internet money to jump into that either way. So they might be like, yeah, I understand that. But
yeah, but I guess what I kind of like about this project is, well, look, number one for me, what really put it on my radar was it's Tim Draper's fund has invested in these guys. Tim Draper for me is I'd say somewhat of a hero. One of the reasons I really went all into crypto when I saw that guy was investing heavily in the space. Rate the guy very highly, and his company is behind investing in these guys. So for me, amazing team. I really like Corey. I've had a look at who the other guys are that are involved. There's some pretty good people there. Jordan, you're saying it's sort of latter in a hype cycle. For me, these guys are just kind of getting started. As the other thing I really agree with you on is definitely something I could put in front of my parents. It's a business with real world assets backing it. I think, unfortunately, the model we're going into now, there are going to be a huge amount of assets that will look to a business like this for a line of credit. That's only going to grow. At the moment, it's as we've seen, it's mainly cars. So this team are coming from a traditional finance business. They're obviously building this protocol now. Who builds on top of it? Let's see in the coming months. But for me, yeah, it's a definite hold. Comparing it to some of the other businesses in this space doing a similar thing, these guys are a lot more visible. I like the people involved. So yeah, I'm certainly going to see where it goes in the coming weeks and keep a close eye on it.
I'd have to do the math on it and see some in-depth analysis, but interest bearing on depreciating assets, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like cars, it's like the first thing you do, buy a car in Lambo and watch the value go down. But it's tied to the loans, right?
Well,
it's the loan, it's the financial loan, not the asset.
They're not necessarily the assets they're buying. That's the people getting a line of credit. So they're obviously repossessing those assets, which, that's the hardcore side of really what's going on here. People losing their shit. But there's going to be a lot of that on this planet. And, ultimately sort of bottom line on that, I like what these guys are, they're looking to really shake up the existing financial system. And that's what we're all about in this space. And I think this project could play a part in that. So definite hold from me.
Chart time. Okay, it's pretty stable. Like it did a pump at 1.6 and then it went 120, 122, which is basically like where it was 30 days ago. On 90 days, since the end of June,
when it came out,
it didn't do anything. Like there is nothing.
That's what I'm talking about. With like the market hype cycle. It seems like it's just going from project to project. It's coming up with the big news. They launched, wow, it pumped. And then now it's just kind of like, okay, waiting for the next fundamental news that can drive it to the next level, right?
That's true.
As the guys have said in the interview, they're slow and steady. Yeah. It hasn't been around that long. Looking at some of these other things we're going to be covering on the show that have already pumped 3,000-4,000%. We're not seeing that with this. So, could the hype hit on this and it be a big win? To me, it's definitely worth holding with that potential for a big pump is the way I see it.
The market cap is 46 million right now, right? So depends on how far you see it going. It would be like a quick scalp day trade. But as far as like degenerate racing, I'm seriously considering.
Look, obviously, Jordan, this is a competition show. Degenerate racing is not the way I would describe it. We're obviously looking at
exactly like that. It's competition at its finest and its best. Every cents count.
Yes. All right. Well, factor that into your thinking, viewers. I'm possibly taking more of a investor look at these things and hoping to help you learn a few things along the way, whereas I'm up against the degenerate traders.
What is that like a good thing on the fact that it didn't move is that, or that is like pretty much stable, is the fact that it might actually work as an index. The fact that something is like there might actually give you like, you invest in one thing, you go down on like a 10%, you need that extra liquidity for the next jump. Yep. And actually DMG can hold that and you can just like liquidate and bomb and turn another one.
Yep.
It might be one of those like side things that might actually save the situation just because like it's still flat at that point. But it's interesting. Like it's, again, there is much more that needs to happen in the coming months. So, is it something that is going to do like a 10x tomorrow? I would say no, to be honest, because I really doubt that. It doesn't have the model yet. But in the long run,
we just lost the 10x crowd from the show, which is about 90% of them. See you later.
I mean, a 10x in 24 hours, I don't know how many people have done that, to be honest. But
I do. I might be looking at a couple of them.
Fair enough. But, it's a difficult one to do. And and the point is is it a solid project? I mean, yes, it is. Come on, look at the people that are behind. but it's all open. What I really think it's going to be interesting is like once they're going to like start giving body to the token. Because look at like all the other governance token. That to me is kind of like the model. Like Jordan was mentioning that it's already 40+ million. Where can it go? Well, if we're looking at like Eve, Compound, which are all like MakerDAO, all government tokens, we have that room to do like that 10x, 20x to go like on that side. The question is like, how long is it gonna take? One, well, actually, the first one is, can he do that? And the second one is, how long is actually gonna take to get there?
Sure. Okay. Anyway, we'll have another look at them next week and see if there's been any movement or any news, etc. That will be a theme of the show. So moving on, Jordan, I believe you brought this one to our attention. I think you might have done some work with these guys over the last few months. Maybe we can have a look at a couple of your memes from Bonk.
Oh, Bonk.
I'm trying to keep things simple, but it is a staking platform. The supply of Bonk, the total supply we went was 3 million. There's no real metaphor or reason behind that. I just like the number 3. I sent 100,000 Bonk to my web dev. When I created the pool, I held 11% of those tokens. So 11% would be, 330,000 roughly. So I actually ended up buying some with my own money, around 3 cents maybe. I think I like with my own personal money. I was like, well, I want to invest in my own project too. So I bought like a small amount as well. And then I think I bought some for my dad too. He really wanted. Whenever they do stake the tokens, there is also no fee as well. So there's no entry fee, but there is a 9% withdrawal fee. The way that it works is when people sell on Uniswap, the stakers get rewarded from that. And so that's why having it on a DEX is so important, and all these other exchanges, and those are centralized exchanges. So I'm kind of hesitant on that because it doesn't actually help the stakers. So the primary driver of the staking revenue is the tokens being bought or sold on DEX exchanges. The staking revenue is also generated from any other token transfer as well. Why Bonk is not deflationary. I didn't want to be susceptible. I didn't want Bonk to be susceptible to the balancer hack. The thing about the NFT concept is like, I didn't really think that it was going to be a big crucial part of Bonk. Like I knew I wanted that. Like I'm an art major, so proof of artwork, which essentially is what an NFT is, it's proof of art. That's essentially what it is. Yeah, it's a non-fungible token. It's an ERC 721 that has an image embedded on it. So it's proof that you own that image.
So, Stefano, I'll let you take it away first. What do you think of Bonk?
Sure. I actually like it a lot. I really like. I like the chat with the founder. I like the strategy where he's going with the NFT and everything. I'm a big fan. Like I didn't know the project. Jordan knows that. I was mocking him at the beginning just because of the name.
So was Sean.
And I completely flipped my mind when like talking, he started telling and like explain like the future of the projects where you want to bring something like that, and the potential is super huge on that. Again, like trying to have like the good and bad. Where I see the limitation right now is that it's small. Like it's a super small project. Like we're talking about like a couple of hundreds of token holder in total. They're working on marketing, yes, but to me, the success or not of a project like this is really comes down to like a marketing effort. Can they actually like become more popular as a project? If they can, definitely is going to go like far as a project. If they cannot, they're going to die as a small project, a super niche thing, and nothing else is going to happen. But overall, I'm going to hold the one that got donated for sure.
Obviously, the way we're doing this, we've put one Ethereum and the equivalent in Bitcoin of our own earnings into the show. We'll be doing that every month. But the rest of the funds are coming from projects. They're effectively donating the equivalent of one Ethereum to us. We then split that amongst ourselves, obviously production costs. So really we're ending up with about $100 each in these projects to play with. I think it's a value that obviously makes it quite difficult to trade at the moment with the gas fees. Something we'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, effectively then if you've got a project like this where there are those charges on top of those gas fees, that's a problem. Anything else on Bonk before I throw it over to Mr. Gonzo?
Overall, I like it. It's a project where I give like a solid thumbs up. I really, really enjoyed the conversation, and I think that the project has a lot of legs, to be honest.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Gordon?
Yeah, I mean, this is like my kind of coin. Total low supply, 3 million. You're in early, This came to me from our group that we have, Sir Hoddle Chat on Telegram. And, I love low supply, 3 million. And then if you can get it like 3 million under, 20 cents, we finished the interview just the day before they announced they have a partnership with the Unifier wallet, which is integrating NFTs, and which is, I think, quite a big thing because Unifier wallet allows you to send a web link to anybody. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, and they can click on that link and receive an NFT from you. So it really breaks down that barrier of like having a wallet, a MetaMask, and signing up and all this kind of stuff. So they have a partnership with Ethereum. They're on the Unifier wallet, and I know that there's a couple other things coming soon. So I think it's just starting its market hype. They're rebranding. They've got a new website coming. Like everything was started totally transparent. They locked in the liquidity, and now they're just working towards knocking these things off the checklist. I think, I'll just take them and stake them.
Speaking of transparency, obviously in the show notes, you can see exactly what's been donated or who's sponsoring what we're doing here, and if any of the guys are actually already holding these tokens before we're doing the show. And I believe in this case, Jordan, you've probably had Bonk for a while, haven't you?
Yep, this is a project that I got involved with a little bit. I've been doing some marketing with them, just making memes and helping with some announcements for some partnerships and sticker packs. That's my bag. I mean, you're filling and shilling, as you say. Yeah, exactly. The last 2 years, I've spent my time meeting projects and making content for them, whether it's stickers or posters or memes or explainer videos. And that's been the way that I've accumulated most of my projects. And it starts from finding a good project and then getting involved with the community, and then from there, marketing. So it's not like fill first and then shill. I go into the project from you
don't have to defend yourself, Jordan.
No, I'm just explaining to my
No, he's explaining that he needs to work to get the free tokens, because then he loses all of them trading, and he needs to find more projects all the time because he cannot keep up with the losses all the time.
Obviously, I'm playing catch up with you guys, and obviously this is a competition show, but I'm also finding it super fascinating to learn a lot of these new concepts, how Ethereum really works. I've obviously been immersed in Bitcoin for years. Jordan's been harassing me to cover the shit coins for years. We're finally doing it, and I've got to admit, I'm really enjoying it, and especially when I come across a project like this, because there is so much here that I think is absolutely worth learning, especially around NFTs. I think these guys are looking to do something quite interesting with NFT staking. No one's done that. Most of the audience probably has absolutely no idea what an NFT is. We've actually done a couple of really good videos on NFTs, so I'll put a link below this video rather than sort of chew up too much time here. I want to learn more about NFTs, and I'm telling you, that not financial advice, but I really think you should. I think after DeFi, I think we're going to see a massive explosion in the NFT side of things. And for me, that's why this is a hold. It's price-wise, it might be similar to a DMG. I don't know whether it's going to go through the roof tomorrow as far as this competition goes, but certainly something that I'll hold for now to really learn a bit more. For me, the show, yes, it's competition, but it's also about trying to understand, the fundamentals of these projects coming from the Bitcoin space and give a bit of that knowledge back to the audience while I slowly but quietly beat you guys in the race.
With Bonk, they're doing their initial NFT distribution soon. So it'd be a good thing.
Right, so look, in short, I was surprised. I thought when you proposed that we were covering something called Bonk, it was going to be a complete shitcoin, but for me, yeah, absolutely worth having more of a look at. So it's a hold for now. Okay, so we're on to our third and final project of the week. Another one that Jordan has brought to the table, another one that I nearly wet my pants laughing when he told me the name of this thing. Pamp. Let's have a look at the Pamp video. Here we go. Take it away, Pamp.
My name is John. I'm the lead developer of Pamp Network. Pamp Network is a price-reactive cryptocurrency. So when we talk about price reactivity, we just mean that at the end of every day, we take a look at the price of the coin and we average it across several exchanges. We take a look at the price, and if the price is higher than it was the day prior, we give rewards, staking rewards, to holders of the coin. And those staking rewards are, there's like a calculation. It's based on how long you're holding the coin for and how much the price appreciated or increased as a percent. And that happens every 24 hours. So every day, there's going to be different rewards. If the price does not increase for a day, there are no rewards. And that's basically how we can adjust our inflation rate according to price action. You have a deflationary, mechanism as well. So when you sell the token, you're going to be burned about 8% or transfer. It's sell or transfer, since when you send it to an exchange, we consider that a sell. So if I'm selling the token on a decentralized exchange, I pay a fee. If I send it to a centralized exchange, I pay a fee, and that fee is 8%. So 8% of whatever you send is burned. It's removed from the supply.
8%.
And it's a big ouch. But you got to think of it in comparison to the rewards, right? So the reason we do that is because we know the rewards are high enough to make up for it. So that 8%, if the price is positive for several days in a row, you're going to make that 8% back. It depends on how long you're holding, right? But you're going to make that 8% back in probably a couple of weeks.
Okay, that was Pamp. Full interview with Jordan and that mystery man, whoever the hell he was.
Hey, that's
you
John
can find that John Pamp.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And on developer, I know for some people.
Yeah, John. Sure, that's not a made-up name either. So yeah, check out the long form video if you want to learn more about Pamp. Jordan, you brought that one to the table. Why?
In the last year, there's been all kinds of crazy developments with the technology, right? Despite like the Bitcoin maximalist fundamentalism of like everything that's not Bitcoin is shit, the tech is developing so fast, right? And then what started with deflation coins, there was Bomb.
Jordan's all about the tech, by the way, people.
Well, no, it's just cool to see
All
everything
about
developing, right? Like they figured out how to combat inflation by creating these deflationary coins based on market supply, right? Which for me is like, whoa, that's awesome. And that, it might not be the best coin in the world, but being first in the door, I think, is an important thing. Again, tiny supply, 3 million.
The guy described it as being similar to Ampleforth. Do you want to comment on that?
Well, in the fact that the price reacts.
Is it a stable coin, which is what Ampleforth was attempting to be?
No, that's the difference. It's similar in that the price changes dependent on the market supply or the market demand, right? But it doesn't take coins from your wallet the way that Ampleforth does. So, if the price goes up, it gives the stakers a reward based on the percentage of how long you've held it, how many coins you have. And if it goes down, there's a penalty for selling that starts at 8%. And then another day it adds 2 more percent. And then those...
Gotta lock up your shit coins.
Exactly, you stake them. So it's a coin designed for hodling, which, we have a group called Sir Hodl.
Stop shilling your freaking trading channel, will you?
Well, it's not a trading channel. It's a fundamental good channel. It's called Sir Hodl.
Okay, stop shilling your fundamental channel. Come and just watch this channel, people. Don't go there.
No, but what I was talking about with the tech that I really like is the first token that did deflation was Bomb. And it bombed because people believe...
Johnny, I'm all about the tech gonzo.
they put money into it. They believed in it as a store of value. It was a super strong community,
Yeah.
except for the traders came in and took all the value out of it, right?
Okay.
But anyways, the thing with Ampleforth and Pamp is they both react. So the inflation and deflation, they kind of work together to, they're not just printing coins constantly. The coins are only given out to stakers dependent on how the price moves. And then if people are selling and the price starts going down, you get even more rewards as a holder. So eventually the penalties for selling, in theory, will stop people from selling, and then the price goes up because it's bottomed out, and then you've got all your extra rewards. So the longer you hold, the more you get. The market cap is tiny still. I'm, minus 58% from the all-time high right now, 25 days ago. I'm staking them. I'm going to hold them. Going to wait.
Okay.
When it does a face melter, sell half.
What do you think of Pamp?
So to answer, let's go in reverse on that. What am I going to do with that? Well, because of the logic, I'm holding because there is not really much else that you can do. What do I think? So here's the thing. It takes a similar approach to Bonk. It takes a similar approach to Ampleforth. It's kind of like combine a lot of different things all together. And, the model is like a bit complicated. Like, I know it seems like straightforward for a lot of people, but there are some things that, like, for example, in the interview, there is this part where the founder is mentioning that if nobody is cashing out, then the percentage of the penalty for liquidating increase of something after a few days and this and that. Which again, as a model to penalizing people that are not holding, it makes sense. Where I'm a little bit confused is exactly in all of these things. You get a lot of projects where who the people are and so on. And here you're in full mystery mode, basically. You don't know what there is behind, your privacy is super high and all of this stuff, which could be a very good thing if you're into privacy coins and all of that stuff. Or on the other side, it can also be a not so good thing because there is no proper auditing or no proper check that has been done. And
that's not true. They've had 2 audits done.
Yeah, but the audit, sorry, let me rephrase that. Let me be more specific. There
they
is
already
no
had that balancer hack, right? So they're through the teeth with the security.
Yeah, but the Balancer Act has nothing to do with the smart contract or the Pump one.
Oh yeah, but it affected them.
Yeah, it affects the price, obviously, but there are 2 different smart contracts. There is no correlation whatsoever between the 2 things. My point of all of that, either way, that's not important. The point of this is that I don't know if there is a backdoor. I don't know if for whatever reason that someone somewhere is still having a piece of the key to actually access that contract. And an auditing doesn't check that. It doesn't check if someone is holding the key or not. Now, my point is they might have destroyed that. Decentraland, for example, has done that when they create the DAO. They destroy the private key to access the governance token and the DAO. And I'm okay, there is proof actually because they've done that. Here, unfortunately, I didn't do too much research on that, so I might be completely wrong. But I have no information to say, is there a technical danger in the model? If the answer is no, then I'm okay, then it's cool. I don't care if the guy is private. I don't care if the guy doesn't want to share his face or change the voice and so on. The model is obviously creating for holding the value and it works because from a technical point, it works. But on the other side, because I don't have that piece of information, I'm okay, what is actually going to stop these people to, not these people in the sense of them, but anyone to find this private key and access that, which is obviously the same problem and the same limit and danger that you have in any other DeFi smart contract model. The difference is that on the other DeFi projects, you know who there is behind. Here you don't. So there is the little higher level of risk because of this that comes in place. Is it enough to say I'm gonna sell everything because I don't want to take that risk? No, to be honest, no. I'm gonna keep them, and because I'm actually curious to understand more. Because a lot of the mathematical, the economical numbers that were put in the video, in the long one, a lot of are good, and others are like question marks, which I think is like homeworks that we have to do on that. So I want to learn that stuff. So at the moment, it's an oldie.
Okay. Look, I probably don't have a huge amount to add to what you've said there. I think I share the exact same concerns. Obviously, there's a hell of a lot of tokens being held internally by these guys at the moment. He obviously in the longer form interview, they're taking legal advice on the status of the token at the moment. So they're proactive on that type of thing. So I'm interested to see how that comes back. But yeah, a lot of concerns around the anonymity there. The other problem, and that's maybe more of a problem of the structure of this particular show, is my understanding is that to get any rewards on this token, you have to have 200 Pamp. It's a big learning curve here. I think some of the questions that we've raised, maybe during the week, the community can reach out to us and address some of those. We'll cover them again in next week's show. Get a bit of clarity around a few things. So I suppose in some ways maybe the interview sort of raised a few more questions than answered some in some areas. The other thing to be aware of for the audience, obviously there's a minimum of 200 Pamp for staking.
They also have liquidity pooling, and they have a special program where it goes through Uniswap, but from they take your unit tokens, and then you deposit them into their liquidity pool program, and that gives you more returns than actual staking.
Yeah.
And
so you would suggest that it's actually better to go on the liquidity pool instead of like the staking model.
It's consistent and it's not reactive to the price. Because
so guys, question? So I understand the play here. The longer you're locked up, locking up your Pamp, the more Pamp you're getting. The 100 days, etc. I get that you're getting more of the token. What effect is driving the price? What would make it be that 10x, 100x project for me if I was holding my Pamp?
Market cycle, hype. It just has to be at the right timing. Gets influence from the right person. You look at all the DeFi projects. Like once it gets exposure and people are like, "Whoa, that's a good return." And people learn that you can hold stuff and make a return. It's like, okay, cool. I'm tired of this, like holding coins and watch their value just go to zero. So that has a pretty huge appeal. And then it just becomes awareness, right? So the marketing seems pretty good. They're getting stuff out there. They're making interviews. They're still putting up new partnerships and new integrations. They've got all kinds of stuff coming. So it's not like, for me, one of the bad things about Bonk is that you could see that they were new and they're kind of going through that learning curve a little bit. Whereas it seems like the Pamp guys, they've been through that before in previous projects, and it shows in their experience. They've got things lined up a lot quicker, so it seems like they'll go a lot faster than Bonk.
Okay. DMG, Bonk, and Pamp long form interviews. Links below. If you want to learn more about any of those three projects, we'll obviously touch on them again next week. So now to round out this first episode, we'll have a quick look at Prime XBT. I do a trading show with Lisa Edwards on Mondays. Check that out if you haven't seen it. So effectively, Prime have given us a small stake each to apply to that platform. So completely up to the guys whether they copy trade on there, trade with margin, etc. We'll be following the progress of how that goes each week. This initial week, I think we're all just going into a copy trade on Lisa. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah.
Very good. Jordan, I think you've used that platform for quite a while already, haven't you?
This is week 2, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah, I started doing it because I've co-vesting. They built the module, the copy trade module, and 2019 beginning, when I got into crypto, that was one of the projects that was like copy trading. I can see the value in that, like I'm not a trader. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well,
So
just on that note, for everyone watching, I mean, Jordan, obviously, I think you're probably the most prolific 24/7 trader amongst us. Obviously, I'm ramping that up for this show. It can be very difficult trying to watch these markets, especially if you're in multiple coins all day, every day, and it can be the quickest way to lose your shirt as well. People that were around in 2017 and thought they were traders during the bull run, many learnt that. I know many of them. So for me, allocating a portion of funds from this competition to a copy trade removes that pressure. Lisa is the one for me that won't be getting any sleep during the bull run. So that's really why I'm quite happy to go with that strategy. And I think that's really what you're touching on here, isn't it, Jordan?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the history of copy trading so far. There was a bunch of projects that came out in 2018, with the white paper and the plan, right? And it's been like, this project comes out with something, it's not doing so well. This project comes out way later, it's doing better. There's all the licenses, jurisdictions, because there's so many legal things to jump through.
Yep.
So co-vesting was kind of really far behind. They hadn't developed anything, but they finally came out with this Prime XBT. And because they're partnered together, they've got kind of the multiple marketing angles, and they've been able to land a lot of really good traders. So, but even if it's good traders, you have to watch. You can't just go, whoa, that guy's 500% in the last week. Go all in, and then you're like, oh, fuck, now he has his bad week and he's down 250. And you just invested in the peak. It's the same. You look at those trader charts, and they work very, very similar to a coin chart. Like a trader will go on a good run. It's like, oh, he's in his bull run. Oh, he's going to dump soon, right? Those good traders are the ones that will like go flat for a while, dump into like a stable coin, or just sit the market out for a bit, and then wait till everything develops and then goes up again.
Okay.
So
very good.
My experience so far with Prime XBT is I deposit. The minimum is 0.01.
Yeah.
So basically like $120, right? I put 0.03 in. I invested in 3 different managers or copy trades. One was Lisa, and then the other 2 top dog and low leverage safe fund or something.
Are you trading yourself on there, or are you just copy trading up to this?
No, I'm not trading on that platform.
Okay.
Because it's all margin and a lot of stuff that I don't trade. I just trade shitcoins.
Okay. You are a shitcoin slinger. Look, I hope everyone watching has taken something away of value from our first episode. We'll be back.
And the takeaway is never
better than ever
to
next time.
3 guys ever again.
Well, this isn't financial advice. It is a competition between the 3 of us. But I do, obviously from the point of view of learning anything, we've made a hell of a lot of videos. We put a lot of time into this channel. Appreciate the contribution of you too. And if you are new to the space, there's informational videos on how to set up wallets, on what DeFi is. We've made all that content. We will be touching on it each week in the show as well, but links are below if you want to learn what Uniswap is, what MetaMask is, what DeFi is. That content's all listed below.
So if I understood correctly, for this week, the takeaway is that none of us is doing anything, because we're all having our ETH that is there. We're all having our BTC that goes just on copy trading, and all of the donation.
Okay, you're 100% correct. You're 100% correct.
I might buy more Pamp.
Someone is doing something at least. This show has just became interesting.
There's also a lot of yield farming happening right now, like new things coming out.
Yeah.
You deposit ETH and some tokens, and you're getting there's this one thing called right now based. I'm getting 1% per day. It's crazy. It's just just ding 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 ding. It's like, whoa, this is pretty good. I only put a little bit in. I only put I think an ETH and a half. Yeah. So it's not like I'm gonna break the bank, but that's my kind of trading strategy. New stuff. Put a small in, see what happens.
Jordan, what part of the world are you in, by the way? It looks like you're making a kidnapping video.
Bangkok.
Right.
Bright and sunny. Yeah. Middle of the day.
You haven't been kidnapped. Very good. Okay. All right, so Jordan, you might buy some more Pamp with your 1 ETH. Very interesting.
If we get if we get a little dump here in the next couple of days.
Let's find out next week, people. But you heard it there. Jordan making the first move. Manipulating the market with the Pamp team to win the competition, no doubt. Of course you will. Take that back. It's only jokes.
Dump it. Oh, he sold?
Yeah, okay. So, all right. I don't know what you're implying, Stefano. You're saying it's going to be a boring show because none of us are going to do anything and just hold each week? Hell no. Definitely not.
No, I'm just saying that like we're starting like a diesel, you know, like the diesel cars that you need to like let them like
fluttering into life. Bit. This is episode 1. We will get and obviously look, we want to involve all of you out there. So please, comments below. Let us know of projects you'd like to see. Let us know what you liked about this episode, and by all means, let us know what you didn't like about this episode.
Maybe we get good enough we can do it live.
So let me take over this final part from Sean that obviously is a little bit too boomer to do things in this way. So here's the thing. Comment below on what you like and what you don't like, because it's the first episode and we are clearly in a way of improving. 2, if you do that, it helps the YouTube algorithm, which we really need a lot of help for that. Second thing, if you actually want to talk like more in details with any of us, there is the link to our new Discord server. So feel free to jump on that and ask whatever question you want. If they're like private, if they're public, obviously just use the YouTube thing on that. To sum that up, because like I know that one of the team has like worked very hard on this. We're going to end the episode with a nice leaderboard, or where we are on this race to actually achieve the 1 BTC and the 32 ETH, which at the moment is all going to be starting from here and not moving at all. But there it is.
Plenty of action next week. We've got some great projects lined up. And yeah, I think you summed it up well there, Stefano. So not a hell of a lot more from me. We'll sign off. Johnny, final word. Short and sweet.
Best slinger win. No, man. Yeah, come on. There's going to be fun times here. You guys are going to get your asses kicked. Oh, yeah. And you're going to make fun of my coins, and then you're going to be broke. And be like, ooh.
I'm holding Pamp. What are you saying? Yeah. Okay. See you next week, everyone.
1 BTC and 32 ETH.